Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to move forward? Like you're running on a treadmill, putting in all the effort, but staying exactly where you are. If that sounds familiar, then what I'm about to share with you might be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening to this right now? What time is it where you are? Drop a comment below and let me know. And while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this one. This is the story of a man who had every reason to give up. No money, no future, no hope. Until he discovered something so simple, so unexpected, that it completely rewired his life in just 90 days. What he did in the quiet hours before dawn might just be the answer you've been searching for. In a small industrial town where the hum of machines never really stopped, there lived a man named David. He was 32 years old and worked the night shift as a security guard at a massive warehouse. Every evening at 8 p.m., he put on his worn-out uniform and headed to work. Every morning at 6 a.m., exhausted and hollow, he walked home to sleep while the rest of the world was just waking up. His paycheck was barely enough to keep him afloat. He lived in a cramped single-room apartment where the ceiling fan had stopped, working months ago. He slept on a thin mattress on the floor. A single flickering light bulb was the only source of light. His clothes were faded and frayed. His shoes had holes that let in rainwater. But David's deepest wound wasn't poverty. It was something far heavier. He felt trapped, stuck in a loop he couldn't break. Every morning as he walked home through the quiet streets, he would glance through windows and see fragments of other people's lives. Families sitting down to breakfast together, kids laughing as they got ready for school, men in pressed shirts heading to jobs that gave them purpose. And David would ask himself the same painful question, is this really all there is for me? Walking home in the dark while everyone else steps into the light? He had tried to escape. He had applied for better jobs, but with only a high school diploma. Every door seemed bolted shut. He wanted to learn new skills, but after 12 hours of guarding a warehouse, his body and mind were too drained to do anything but collapse into bed. His mother lived in a small village and called him every week. Her voice carried the weight of a mother's worry. David, my son, when will things get better for you? I'm not getting any younger. I want to see you standing on your own feet before I go. David would force brightness into his voice. Soon, Mama. I'm working on it. But the truth he couldn't escape was this. He wasn't lazy. He worked hard every single night. He walked miles on patrol. He stayed alert. He did his job. But hard work alone wasn't changing anything. He was working hard in a life that was going absolutely nowhere. Every morning when he fell into bed around 7 a.m. and slept until 4 p.m., he felt like he was living in reverse. The world moved forward while he slept through it. One thought kept circling back. To him, a whisper he couldn't silence. There has to be another way. But he didn't know what that way was. One cold Tuesday morning in November, David's phone rang just as he was leaving the warehouse. It was his sister. David, you need to come home right now. Mama collapsed. She's in the hospital. His heart dropped into his stomach. He caught the first bus to his village. The 3-hour ride felt like an eternity. When he finally arrived at the small rural clinic, his mother was lying in bed, pale but awake. The doctor said she had fainted from exhaustion and stress. She needed rest, proper nutrition, and medication they couldn't afford. His mother held his hand, her voice barely a whisper. David, I don't have much time left. Please, don't waste your life the way I wasted mine. Find a way out. Promise me. He sat by her bedside long after she drifted off to sleep. He looked at her hands, worn rough from decades of labor, just like his own. Both of them struggling, both of them stuck, Something cracked inside him. Not sadness this time, but a fierce anger at his own helplessness. He stepped outside the clinic into the darkness before sunrise. It was 5 a.m. The village was still asleep, but a few farmers were already making their way to the fields. Birds were beginning to stir. The air was crisp and clean. And in that quiet moment, standing alone in the early morning, David made a decision that would change everything. "No more," he whispered to himself. "I'm done living like this. Whatever it takes, I'm finding a way out." On the bus ride back to town, David noticed something unusual. Sitting across from him was a man in his 50s, well-dressed, calm, reading a book. He looked completely at peace. David recognized him. It was Mr. Lin, a successful local businessman who owned several shops. What struck David was the time. It was 6 a.m., a wealthy man riding a public bus at dawn. David gathered his courage. "Excuse me, sir, why are you on the bus so early?" Mr. Lin looked up and smiled. "I wake up at 4:30 every morning. I use this time to read, to think, to plan my day before the world wakes up. But don't you need sleep? I'm in bed by 9 p.m., 7.5 hours. That's plenty." Mr. Lin studied David's tired face. "You work nights?" "Yes. Security guard. And when do you sleep?" "From about 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. "Usually." Mr. Lin nodded slowly. "So you're awake while the world sleeps, and asleep while the world works. No wonder you feel stuck." He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Let me share something with you that changed my life 30 years ago. The hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. Those are magic hours. That's when you can build the life you want while everyone else is still dreaming." David felt something stir in his chest. A dangerous thing called hope. But how? "I work until 6 a.m. I need sleep." Then shift your sleep. Go to bed when you get home at 6:30, wake up at 11:30. That's 5 hours, enough to function. Then use your real hours when the world is awake. And eventually, if you can change your work schedule, you wake at 5 a.m. consistently. That's the secret. Mr. Lin wrote his number on a small card. If you're serious about changing your life, call me. I'll show you exactly what to do with those morning hours. But only if you're serious. Because it takes discipline that most people don't have. The bus reached David's stop. He looked at the card in his hand and made a silent promise. "I'm starting tomorrow." That evening, David did something he had never done before. He called Mr. Lin. The next day at 11 a.m., for the first time in years, David was awake during daylight on a weekday. He met Mr. Lin at a small cafe. Mr. Lin looked at him with approval. "You actually changed your sleep schedule. Good. Most people talk, you acted. Now let me show you what to do with your mornings." He pulled out a notebook and drew a simple sketch. "David, imagine your life is a house. Right now, your house is dark, cold, falling apart. Why? Because you never work on the foundation. You're too busy just surviving." He drew a simple house. The hours from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's your foundation building time. While everyone else is asleep, you're building your future. 2 hours. Every morning. That's 14 hours a week, 60 hours a month, 730 hours a year. He wrote the numbers clearly. That's the equivalent of 90 full workdays that you create just by waking up early. In 1 year, you get 3 extra months that everyone else wastes. David's eyes widened. 3 months. "Here's what you do with those 2 hours, Mr. Lin continued. "This isn't optional. This is the system. Hour 1, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Build skills. You spend this hour learning something that will change your financial situation. Not watching videos, not scrolling on your phone, learning a skill, a language, a trade. Online courses are free now. YouTube has everything. You have no excuse. Hour 2, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Build your body and mind. 30 minutes of exercise. Walk, run, stretch. Your body is your vehicle. If it breaks down, you have nothing. Then 30 minutes of reading. Plan your day. Review what you learned in hour 1. David scribbled notes in a borrowed notebook. Mr. Lin added 3 rules. Rule 1. No negotiation. You wake at 5 a.m. every single day, including weekends. No skipping. That's how people fail. Rule 2. Sleep by 9 p.m. You can't cheat sleep and succeed. Your body needs rest, but you decide when. Rule 3. The first week will be brutal. Your body will fight you. Your mind will make excuses. Push through. After 21 days, it becomes a habit. After 90 days, it becomes who you are. Mr. Lin looked at David with intensity. I'm giving you 3 months. 3 months of waking at 5 a.m., building skills in hour 1, building yourself in hour 2. After 3 months, come back and show me what you've built. If you've done the work, I'll help you find a better job. If you quit, don't bother calling. Success belongs to people who show up when it's hard. David felt the weight of the challenge, but for the first time in years, he also felt something else. Purpose. I'll do it, he said. I won't quit. Mr. Lin smiled knowingly. We'll see. Everyone says that. The next morning, David's alarm screamed at 5 a.m. His entire body protested. His mind whispered, just 5 more minutes. You're exhausted. But he saw his mother's face in that hospital bed. He heard Mr. Lin's challenge. He remembered his own. Promise. He threw off the blanket and stood up. The first week was brutal. David dragged himself awake every morning. His body ached from the sleep adjustment. At 5 a.m., while it was still dark, he sat at his small table with his phone. He watched free tutorials on bookkeeping and spreadsheets. His eyes burned, his mind wandered, but he didn't stop. At 6 a.m., he forced himself to walk around his neighborhood for 30 minutes. Then he read articles about accounting. He had chosen this skill because every business needed it. By 7:30 a.m., he went to bed and slept until 2 p.m. Then he got ready for his night shift. The cycle repeated. It was exhausting. It was lonely. No one understood why he was doing this. But something shifted around day 20. One morning, David woke up at 4:58 a.m., 2 minutes before his alarm. His body had adapted. For the first time, he didn't feel angry. He felt ready. The tutorials started making sense. He was learning formulas, data analysis, basic accounting. He completed his first online certificate. His morning walks became something he looked forward to. The sunrise, the quiet streets, the feeling that while the world slept, he was building. By the end of month 2, David had finished 3 online courses in accounting and spreadsheets. He had lost weight from walking daily. His mind felt sharper. His confidence was growing. People at work noticed, David, you look different, healthier. What changed? He smiled. I'm changing my life 2 hours at a time. In the 3rd month, David put his new skills to use. He created a simple spreadsheet to organize the warehouse inventory, something the company had never done properly. He showed it to his supervisor. The supervisor was impressed. David, where did you learn this? I wake up at 5 a.m. and teach myself. Word traveled to the warehouse manager, then to the owner. On day 87 of David's 5 a.m. journey, his supervisor called him into the office. David, we're expanding our accounting department. We need someone who knows our warehouse operations and has basic bookkeeping skills. The job is yours if you want it. Day shift. Double your current salary. David stood there, unable to speak. 3 months ago, he was a night guard with no hope. Now he was being offered an office job. "When do I start?" he managed to say. "Monday." That evening, David called Mr. Lin. "Mr. Lin, I did it. I never missed a single 5 a.m. wake-up, and today, I got promoted." There was a pause, then Mr. Lin's voice, warm and proud. "I knew you would. You had the look of someone ready to change. Now remember, don't stop waking at 5 a.m. That's not a strategy anymore. That's who you are." "I won't stop," David said. "This is who I am now." 1 year later, David had become the company's lead accountant. He had saved enough to move his mother to town. He got her proper medical care. He rented a decent 2-bedroom apartment. Every morning at 5 a.m., he still woke up. Not because he had to, but because those 2 hours were sacred. That was when he learned new software, read business books, planned his future. His co-workers would ask, "David, why do you still wake up so early? You've already made it." He would smile and say, "Success isn't a destination. It's a daily practice. And mine starts at 5 a.m." My friend, David's story is proof of something powerful. Your life can change. Not someday. Not when things get easier. Right now. Starting tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Here's what most people don't understand. The difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even hard work. It's how you use the time when everyone else is sleeping. Between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., the world is quiet. No notifications, no demands, no distractions. Your mind is fresh. Your willpower is at its peak. This is when you do the work that changes your path. Successful people know this. That's why so many leaders, athletes, and creators wake up early. Not because they're special, because they understand that winning the morning means winning the day. So here's your challenge. The same challenge Mr. Lin gave David. Step 1. Tonight, set your alarm for 5 a.m., not 5:15, not 5:30, exactly 5 a.m. Put your phone across the room so you have to stand up to turn it off. Step 2. Decide what you will build in your first hour, a skill you need, a business idea, a certification. Choose one thing, just one. Commit to it for 90 days. Step 3. Protect your 9 p.m. bedtime. You can't wake up early if you stay up late. Turn off the shows. Skip the endless scrolling. Sleep isn't your enemy. Wasted evenings are. I promise you this. If you wake up at 5 a.m. every single day for 90 days and use those 2 hours with purpose, your life will not look the same. Maybe you won't become a millionaire. Maybe you won't get promoted overnight, but you will become someone different, stronger, more disciplined, more capable. And that person can achieve anything. David had nothing, no degree, no connections, no money, just a choice to wake up early and build. You have more than he had. You're watching this, which means you have access to information, to opportunity. The only question is, will you use it? Or will you hit snooze tomorrow and wonder, 5 years from now, why nothing changed? If you're ready to join the 5 a.m. club, hit that like button right now as your commitment. Then drop a comment telling me what you'll build in your first hour tomorrow. Let's hold each other accountable. I'll be checking the comments. Share this with someone who says they want to change but never takes the first step. Maybe this is the push they need. And subscribe to this channel because every week I share stories of people who transformed their lives and the exact steps they used. Remember David's words. Success isn't a destination. It's a daily practice. And that practice begins tomorrow. at 5 a.m. Will you be awake? Your future self is waiting on the other side of that alarm clock. Don't keep them waiting any longer. If this video is helpful for you, then please hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what skill will you start building tomorrow morning.